Tales of Herding Gods Episode 77. In the previous episode, Qin Mu faced a terrifying new threat from the Nine Spectres Sect. They had found a way to summon the souls of the dead back from the netherworld, reanimating corpses into relentless warriors. Deer County City, unprepared for such a sinister attack, fell into chaos. Soldiers were overrun, city gates were shattered, and the streets became a battlefield of the living dead. Even the strongest practitioners, once confident in their combined assault techniques, found themselves powerless against enemies who could feel no pain and feared no death. Amid the dark fog rising from the river and the burning city behind them, Qin Mu, with Hu Linger, Chen Wanyan, Yu Qinghong, and the others, barely escaped. Now, with the northern routes blocked and the enemy's power looming ever closer, Qin Mu must lead his companions toward the southern borders, seeking a chance to regroup and plan their next move. And the story continues. The black fog grew denser and denser. It was daytime, yet it looked like the night. Qin Mu and his companions could still barely make out the direction, though the sky above them had turned into a dull gray void. The sun, once blazing and golden, had become nothing but a dim, silvery halo, so faint it looked colder than moonlight. The lush green mountains that surrounded them moments ago had faded into shapeless, ominous silhouettes swallowed by the mist. Behind them came eerie shouts and laughter, voices echoing through the fog like broken ghosts. There are a few that escaped. 3 males, 3 females, and a huge lion. Don't go away. Pick up my head. Come back quickly. Qin Mu's heart tightened. The dead were speaking. Some unseen horror followed behind. He exchanged a glance with Chen Wanyan, who immediately understood. Drawing his sword, Chen Wanyan cut a long trench in the earth. Qin Mu waved his sleeve, sweeping dirt to bury him inside, a temporary hiding place to strike when the undead drew near. Moments later, dreadful screams rang out behind them. Someone hid in the earth to ambush us, one voice howled. My head is severed. Does anyone see my head? Another answered, Idiot, if your head's missing, how are you talking? Ah, that explains why I couldn't find it, came the eerie reply. Even in death, madness lingered. Using the confusion, Qin Mu led his companions farther ahead through the suffocating mist. But then, from deep within the fog, strange singing began, soft, monotonous, and unnervingly emotionless. The sound had no melody, just a relentless droning chant. Qin Mu motioned for silence and crept closer to investigate. What he saw froze his breath. Several corpses stood among the trees, their bodies half rotten yet moving in eerie harmony, their lips murmuring spells. They were performing Soul Guide, the forbidden art of Nine Spectres Sect, dead men casting the spell of the living, forcing their own souls to remain inside their decaying shells. If they stopped chanting for even a moment, the underworld would drag them back. Qin Mu realized this was no random haunting. Nine Spectres Sect had mastered a way to manipulate the border between life and death. If such an art ever reached perfection, could it mean immortality? Perhaps, but for now, it was a curse, binding the dead in endless torment. Not daring to disturb them, Qin Mu led his group away, choosing a new direction. Yet again, they encountered more of the same, disciples of Nine Spectres Sect and the Corpse Immortal Cult. Now allies in corruption, undead Taoists walked beside their own corpses, directing them like puppets. The air stank of decay and incense. The cult of the Corpse Immortal had once been destroyed by Yuan Chuyu, but now even its members had been resurrected to serve the rebellion. It became clear to Qin Mu that Nine Spectres Sect's uprising was not random. It had been planned for months, perhaps years. Someone powerful had orchestrated this, someone willing to sacrifice countless lives. If this continues, Qin Mu thought grimly, Lizhou will fall, the empire will bleed. He suspected betrayal at the highest level, someone who knew exactly when the imperial scholars would arrive in this province, timing the attack to exterminate them all. Those scholars represented the next generation of Eternal Peace's leaders. If they died here, the empire's future would crumble. Guided by instinct, Qin Mu led his team to Deer Mountain, reasoning that it might be safe. The corpses had already left that area to attack the nearby city. Indeed, The black fog thinned slightly, and their hearts began to ease. But just as they dared to hope, a new chanting rose from the mountain. It was deeper, more rhythmic, carrying a pulse of dark power. Qin Mu stopped at once. "That's not Soul Guide," he whispered. "It's something else." Leaving the others hidden, he moved silently toward the source. There, in a clearing between jagged rocks, he saw an altar unlike any he had ever seen. It was built entirely from human skeletons. Bones interlocked to form a perfect square 13 yards wide. The surface was paved with skulls, and white banners marked each corner, their fabric covered in blood-colored runes. In the center squatted a grotesque idol, a devil god with 8 arms, 4 faces, and 3 eyes on each face, its limbs folded into an unnatural pose. Around it stood 13 male and female Taoists, chanting in unison. Floating before them were talisman treasures, complex polyhedral charms spinning slowly in the air. As they chanted, the talismans emitted beams of light that struck the statue, illuminating runes carved upon its stony flesh. One by one, the runes lit up, crawling like fire across its body. The idol seemed to breathe. Qin Mu's heart jolted. He recognized the ritual, ghost transferring God dispatching runes command. It belonged to the Great Mountain Sect, a sect destroyed long ago by the imperial preceptor for practicing soul sorcery. These must be the survivors, hiding all these years, now allied with the undead sects for revenge. The timing of this ceremony aligned perfectly with the imperial scholar's journey, proving that someone within the empire had betrayed them all. If the ritual completed, the devil god would manifest. Lizhou would be annihilated. Qin Mu slipped back and told his companions everything. Fear spread among them. 13 divine arts practitioners were no small threat. But Qin Mu's voice was firm. "If we wait, we die. When that god descends, no one will survive. We strike now." They discussed tactics. The Great Mountain Sect specialized in spirit and soul magic, not close combat. If they struck fast, hand to hand, before any spell was cast, they might prevail. Chen Wanyan straightened, eyes hard. "You dare, I dare," he said. Si Yunxiang pledged loyalty, and Yu Qinghong trembled with excitement at the prospect of such a battle. Even the hesitant monk Yun Ke finally muttered, "If I don't enter hell, who would?" Qin Mu laid out the plan. He would rush first, cutting a path to the altar. The others would follow in formation, fighting at close range to prevent the Taoists from chanting further. "We must be fast," he warned. "No hesitation. Once they summon the god, it's over." They crept into position around the clearing. The ritual was nearly complete. The devil god's runes blazed like molten gold. Qin Mu signaled Hu Linger and the dragon Qilin to circle around. Moments later, a commotion erupted on the opposite side. The Qilin's thunderous roar echoed as it chased the fox spirit. Hu darted through the brush. The chanting faltered for a moment as the Taoists turned. One of them laughed lightly. "Just a beast chasing its prey." He never finished the sentence. A flash of silver light streaked through the mist. Qin Mu was already upon the altar, twin blades flashing like lightning. One clean stroke, blood splattered across the bone-white altar. The Taoist's head rolled to the ground, eyes still wide with shock. Battle technique. Every cloud has a silver lining. And that wraps up this episode. In this part, we saw Qin Mu and his companions trapped in a world shrouded by black fog, a place where the boundary between life and death had completely dissolved. The once bright day turned into an eerie, dreamlike night filled with wandering corpses and sinister chants. Through his courage and sharp insight, Qin Mu uncovered the horrifying truth. The Nine Spectres Sect and the Corpse Immortal Cult had joined forces with the remnants of the Great Mountain Sect. Together, they were performing a forbidden ritual to summon a devil god, a being powerful enough to destroy all of Lizhou. This episode reveals not just Qin Mu's bravery, but also his quick thinking and leadership. Despite being surrounded by death and sorcery, he analyzed their enemy's weakness, encouraged his allies, and planned a desperate assault before the summoning could be completed. The discovery of betrayal among the Empire's highest ranks adds another layer of intrigue, hinting that a much greater conspiracy lies behind the chaos. The tension builds beautifully here. the dense fog, the undead chanting, the grotesque altar of bones, all of it creates a vivid picture of danger and darkness. Yet, in the middle of this nightmare, Qin Mu's resolve shines like light through the fog. The episode ends in thrilling fashion, with him charging onto the altar and striking down the first of the enemy, launching what could be one of the fiercest battles yet. If you enjoyed this episode or found it intriguing, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get notified about the latest episodes in Qin Mu's journey. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again in the next episode.